Hello and welcome to episode 172 of Retro Encounter, your RPG Fan Weekly podcast. My name is Peter Triezenberg. I have Fury himself, and today we are going to be continuing our discussion of Kingdom Hearts. Joining me today is Mike Sollosi.
Hey.
Alana Hagues.
Hello.
And KK Slider himself, Kyle Kortvely.
Hi there.
Been waiting to use that one.
Thanks.
All right. So where last we left off in the Kingdom Hearts saga, Mike was pulling his hair out. We were all getting kind of grumpy about how badly the controls have aged, and we were stuck in a whale's belly. Moving on from there, though, we have a dual choice of what world to go to next. So what do we want to talk about, guys? Do we want to do Halloween Town, or do we want to do Atlantica?
Might as well just get the obvious one taken care of.
We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off, huh? Okay, so how about them swimming controls, guys?
I thought my memory was deceiving me because I sort of liked the first 20 minutes of Atlantica because I appreciated that they wanted to add some verticality to the stages. They made it pretty easy to find the palace with pointing with tridents pointing to where you're supposed to go, and having to explore sort of a top shelf and a bottom shelf of the area. I sort of appreciated. It's like okay, the environment designer people wanted this to feel like you were swimming in a 3D space, but then descending and ascending is while trying to target enemies sucks and makes the two boss battles in a way fighting against the controls more than fighting the bosses. So my 20 minutes of appreciating Atlantica were Yeah,
I was gonna say the Ursula fight isn't that hard, except for the fact that you have a hard time controlling where you're going.
Yeah, I had a difficult time targeting her cauldron to stun her because I kept accidentally, attacking Eel 1 and Eel 2 instead. But so I didn't love either of those boss fights. But they, again, like every boss fight in the game, it took me 2 or 3 tries to stop fighting the controls, and then I figured it out.
What about you guys? Did you guys do Atlantica on this playthrough?
I sure as heck did. I know that Atlantica is like one of those spots you don't, I guess, have to do, but I feel like I'm not getting the full potential out of this game, having at least one water world, completing my journey through Kingdom Hearts, at least some, except for number 2. But that's
obligatory water stage.
Yeah, obligatory water stage. But kind of like
Kyle is not someone that used the whistles in Mario 3.
Oh, of course, whatever. I want to get the full game experience here.
Nobody likes Pipeland, but you got to do Pipeland.
Hey, have you even beat Dark Souls if you used a summon? I mean, really?
No.
Boy,
I have heard that argument online before, and it is the cringiest thing.
Of all the games to drop a Dark Souls reference on, this one.
Yeah,
this one, sure.
Kingdom Hearts 1 is the Dark Souls of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, what?
I mean,
I was hoping someone wouldn't say that, but here we are.
I'm sorry. It's a low-hanging fruit, a low-hanging Paopu fruit, if you will.
But one of my I guess negative things I can say about Atlantica is if it's not the swimming, it's definitely an Ursula fight when you have to keep attacking the cauldron. I can't tell you how many times that I'm not at the right type of
you're like
height.
Just not high enough, or
Yeah.
too low, or you're too far above it, or
Even simple actions like opening chests can get annoying with the exact vertical positioning that you need.
Mm-hmm. Nope, exactly. So I mean, you can lock on to to them, which helps a little bit, but it's still not great. And once you unlock the mermaid kick move, that helps you swim against those currents, which is also kind of an obnoxious navigation puzzle in and of itself.
Yeah.
But if you accidentally do it while you're trying to go fast, well, now all of a sudden you're swimming into a wall and you can't stop until the animation plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not great. I don't mind Atlantica as much as I did when I back in the day, but it's still my least favorite world in the game by far, just because I think the layout is confusing. I think the movement is needlessly cumbersome. I do appreciate what they were going for, and I like seeing all the characters from Little Mermaid, because that is a very good Disney movie.
Yes, I enjoyed seeing Sebastian and Triton and Ariel. I think Little Mermaid is an excellent Disney movie. It was because weirdly, Disney's oeuvre was not great in the 70s or 80s until Little Mermaid. Started the frickin' Renaissance with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King back to
Yeah,
back.
Hmm.
But
all that good stuff.
but Little Mermaid's a really really standout Disney movie. So I liked that, and I liked the having the Shimamura variation of Under the Sea playing every time I exited combat. But I think I liked Atlantica more than Deep Jungle or Monstro, but because Monstro's just sort of an empty whale intestine, and Deep Jungle is just zigzagging between the same 4 points that are annoying to navigate. So I don't love the swimming controls in Atlantica, but I didn't hate it as much as I anticipated I would.
Alana, do you have Atlantica thoughts?
I don't mind Atlantica too much again, like you. It's not my least favorite, but I don't hate it. I think it's a little bit finicky. What I do really hate is when you do lock onto some enemy and you go to attack. Yes, Saurus goes up, but he goes up too far most of the time, and it's just so annoying. But yeah, I don't really have anything to add, although I'm glad that they didn't put any poppies in Atlantica. That is one thing I always remember very fondly.
Well, of course, they'd drown.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate the understanding of their elements and their world design. So that's cool. But yeah, I think Atlantica, it's better than the 2 version. I don't want any silly musical stages, and I always get flashbacks whenever the Japanese version of Under the Sea or something comes on shuffle.
Oh God, no!
Wait, so in Kingdom Hearts 2, Atlantica's musical stages, but they're not good like Rayman Legends musical stages.
No, it's just, they're
Definitely
just
not.
straight up. They're just it's just a music rhythm game.
Just spending
But a
fun will
really
be
silly
into your
one.
head all the entire damn time.
My last playthrough of KH2, I really wanted the Thunder upgrade, so I put the TV on mute, skipped every cutscene, and did that in like a half hour.
Yeah, but
Sounds great.
It's wonderful, and it's also a big part of why I haven't gone to finish that to 100% that playthrough, because you need to get certain scores in all the mini games, and I just do not have time for that.
for sure, yeah. But yeah, Atlantica's okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. So
Oh, and one thing also I liked about Atlantica, your 3 main characters transform for it.
Yeah, and they're cute.
God,
It's really
yeah.
That only happens twice, and I wish it had happened several more times because I really enjoyed it both times.
It's happening. It's going to happen for for a whole chunk of the worlds in 3, which is pretty cool.
I love Donald Octopus. Like, oh my god, how adorable!
Donald Octopus, Goofy Sea Turtle, and Sora,
So cute.
Mermaid Boy.
He's a shark mermaid boy as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is a shark, isn't he?
Yeah, all 3 of them look great.
forgot.
I wish they had done that for more than 2 worlds in this game, because I thought they were really, really cool flourishes both times they did it.
Yeah, Halloween Town, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are really cool too. Because then Donald is a mummy, and Goofy has this weird Frankenstein look going.
Yeah, and Sora has like a vampire features and bat wings, and he has a pumpkin mask
head.
that's hanging off his head halfway, like a Japanese oni mask in a kabuki play or something.
Yeah, it's a great design.
Yeah.
Speaking of Halloween Town, I like this world a lot, guys.
Favorite Disney World.
One of my favorite
Town is
worlds.
so fun.
The music in it's great, the look in it's great. It's very true to the movie, and it's still a little bit rubber banding sort of back and forth to complete some arbitrary tasks, but it doesn't feel like a trudge, because it's pretty to the point, and the setting is just more entertaining than every other stage in the game. Halloween Town's really good.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It has all these really neat. Sorry, it has all these really neat intricacies, like the puzzles where you have to go through the coffin to get to the graveyard, and then you have to go through this door to get to another way, and things like that. And I love the way that the whole, like, it's like Wonderland, but right, like it plays around with the design and the kind of kookiness of the world really perfectly, and like the claymation style of it, like it looks like it's stop motion, kind of all grayed out and everything, and I adore it.
And they even have your 3 main characters walk across the curly hill against the moon backdrop. And we mentioned there's a costume change, and that's really cool.
The Heartless. If you look closely at the Heartless in that world, they have a little pattern on them that makes them look more like handmade, which is really cute.
And the story, if you can call it a story, in Halloween Town is that Jack thinks the Heartless are perfect for Halloween and wants to make them dance.
which is very in keeping with Jack Skellington.
Yeah,
He was a good boy who did nothing wrong.
Yeah, no. He's a very good but delusional boy, and who tries to leverage science for a horrifying, twisted purpose that's very innocent coming from him. And also, Jack is by far my favorite ally that joins, not because he's good. I mean, he is good, but not as strong as Beast, I guess. But in the menu, he has this great strut. He has just this this long stride with his shoulders swaying. It's like, oh, Jack Skellington, you're the coolest.
He knows it. It's it's a fun world, and Oogie Boogie too is a great villain, really fun performance, and it's a pretty nifty boss fight too.
Yeah, the 2-stage boss fight, I believe. I think whoever or whatever talked the way into Night Before Christmas on this one, I feel like they put a lot of love in this level, like almost too much, because out of all the levels, this is like one of the very few levels that I can distinctly remember, not only because I'm grinding in it, but all the characters, all the placements, the details, even to the last thing, even the Oogie fight, first part and especially the second part, it just felt like someone put a lot of effort into this, and it was so good.
I think that movie had to be popular in Japan because at least 2 manga and anime that I really like have extremely clear homages to Nightmare Before Christmas, and I just I think that movie must have done well in Japan, and it was probably one of the worlds that Square people were excited to include, and they did a really good job with it. It's again, I think it's probably the best Disney world in this game.
Yeah, totally agree. And the Oogie Manor fight too is really cool. That's another fight that takes advantage of mobility.
Yeah,
you have to,
there's some weird there's some weird platforming you have to do to get to all of those. I probably did a little bit of Skyrim glitching, like horse riding up the side of a mountain kind of deal to get to some of them. But those 2 boss fights, their gimmicks weren't terribly hard to figure out, and were different enough that I wasn't I wasn't growling at the television like I was at times during the Ursula fights.
Fair enough. After Halloween Town is Neverland, or okay, this one's a little weird for me because they call it the world Neverland, but it's just Captain Hook's pirate ship
and Big Ben
and Big Ben. Hey. Which, I mean, fair enough, but I mean, it's not. You don't go to Wonderland proper until I think Birth by Sleep.
No, you don't.
Yeah, Wonderland almost feels like
Neverland. Sorry,
yeah, I'm sorry, wrong land. Neverland feels like I don't know, like 3/4 of a dungeon.
Yeah, it feels undercooked, doesn't it? And it's almost feels like, well, it is like the same design in every room, but you are going again back and forth through the same rooms over and over again. There's like 6 different rooms, and it's just tiring.
Yeah, and you go back through the same ones, and you unlock some as you open them from the inside, and because it looks the hold of the ship looks a little bit samey, so I definitely got lost and accidentally found the boss room instead of instead of having much command of what was going on. I don't flying around London is great. And the flying controls are better than the swimming controls. Like, that's hard, but I didn't love Neverland, and Peter Pan is an okay companion, but going from like Jack to Peter then to Beast, it's clear who the Lepidus of that triumvirate is.
Yeah, but I do like Captain Hook, and that is a cool boss fight against him. Although,
I love the hammy villain performances. The coalition of evil villains in this game. I wanted them to all have more banter and screen time.
Yeah,
it's great.
I wish the crocodile got more screen time because he is my personal hero for Peter Pan. I've always adored him and his little clock. He's so cute.
There should have been a better scene of knocking Captain Hook into the crocodile. I would have dug that.
It's actually in
Birth by Sleep, I think.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, in Birth by Sleep during the boss fight, you can knock him into it to do damage.
Oh, so you tell me that they do a better version of this in a future Kingdom Hearts game? Oh,
yeah, Kingdom Hearts, it gets better.
Interesting.
Actually, Neverland and Birth by Sleep is one of the best worlds in the series, I would argue. I love it.
It also has the most frustrating moments with Captain Hook. I mean, at least for me anyway. I don't know why. It's just they took Neverland, and I feel like it's very forgettable. And any single time I think of Neverland for Kingdom Hearts 1, I don't even think of Kingdom Hearts 1. I think of another Kingdom Hearts game when I think of Neverland. But I guess reminding myself that you spent the entire game inside the pirate ship, and then you have the awesome boss fight. It's like, feels very lackluster at the same time.
It's an okay boss fight. It's
better than Days. Days' version of Neverland was just like a big empty field.
Days.
The DS one with Rockstar.
358 over 2. Sorry.
Right. The right. I forgot. Sometimes Kingdom Hearts titles resemble the quadratic formula.
Exactly.
The title will make perfect sense when you finish the game, says Tetsuya Nomura. Raises his hand. Does it though? Does it though?
Although, like, going back to Neverland really briefly, there's the return of these very cool Heartless designs, kind of like a mirror from the Agrabah ones. So you've gone from, like, bandits to pirates, and you know how I love me some pirates. Like, I love some Heartless pirates, and I do like the pirate ship ones as well. They can be a pain in the butt.
Wasn't that like a multi thing? You attack his propeller, the cannons, and everything to really kill it?
Yeah, they're really good to grind on. So if you take out the mast, the back, the 2 cannons, you get like 50 points, like 50 PP.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just pressed X a lot.
If you're doing the time trials in Olympus Coliseum, those things are really annoying though, because they can fly out of range of your attacks, and it's like you're just watching the timer count down. Like
you can drag them down by casting gravity on them though, can't you?
Oh, can you? I didn't use gravity a whole lot, but
you can do that for a lot of the floating enemies in the game, and I noticed it that because Donald, being useful for once in his life, would do that occasionally.
See, for me, Donald just cast stop a lot, which made my enemy fights take longer, and I got upset. But fair.
Yeah, I didn't like. I do like how Neverland in Kingdom Hearts 1 though is similar to Monster in that it's not like a grounded world, in that it's traveling space or whatever the Kingdom Hearts interworld area is called. It's just traveling around trying to find. I think it's trying to find the princesses or trying to take Wendy around because they think she's one of the princesses of Heart, don't they? And she's not. So
yeah, Captain Hook was a little offended when Maleficent told him she wasn't a princess.
Yeah,
not important, Captain Hook.
Yeah, perennial dark boy Riku makes an appearance again, this time he has Kairi because turns out Kairi is one of the princesses that they need.
You weren't looking for Kairi. I had Kairi given to me. This makes me upset with you.
Okay,
that monotone is really good, actually.
Calm down the brooding there.
It's like, okay, thanks, Riku. Real helpful.
I know, right? And he comes with all this. This is the point where he like has the purple skin, isn't it? Like the weird heartless kind of design.
Oh, the purple hula skirt of death.
Oh yeah, that one.
that doesn't come later at Hollow Bastion, or is this the first?
No, it comes. It does come in Hollow Bastion. He gets it like pretty much right when you get in there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not really. I guess it's not really explained as much aside from Maleficent says, "Oh well, now you're a good servant to me. Now here's this armor and here's this everything else. Now you're cool now.
I'll make you glow green for a few seconds, and now you have power over the Heartless."
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from there, you have to go back to Traverse Town briefly, I think. I'm trying to remember the sequence of events.
Yeah, you have to talk to Sid, and he says, "Well, let's go back to this one place. Can't unlock, but here you go."
Then you watch a cutscene, then he gives you the thing, and then you go to Hollow Bastion, which is, it's not the final world of the game, but it feels very climactic in terms of its design. Like, it's probably one of the most complicated spaces you have to navigate in this game.
It's the only one that feels like an RPG dungeon to me in the entire game.
It is. I think it's very clearly at very least homaging a Final Fantasy dungeon.
And my first impression was that it's the Cinderella castle that appears in the Disney logo, but like all twisted and taken over by Heartless. But then I think it's, by the end I decided, it's less that and more like you said, Peter, an homage to Final Fantasy dungeons. And it has multiple zones. It has moving platforms and elevators. It has a tiny bit of puzzle solving with like the library stuff and the emblem making stuff. Hollow Bastion felt like a normal RPG dungeon, but not in a bad way. I like RPGs. Yes, give me a normal RPG dungeon, please.
Yeah, I like this world a lot, especially with the music. Like, it's kind of zen. Like, I love how you kind of fall into that. It's like a trance listening to that music.
Mm-hmm.
I got it in my head right now. I don't know why. Just
It's
hear
that
it.
and Traverse Town. It's the rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah.
The slow pan of
The thing I disliked the most though was fighting large numbers of flying enemies when you can fall off the edge of the
Yeah, that is
the castle walls a couple times. Great, yeah.
that is always
no.
that is really annoying, and if you're not spec'd for magic, although there is a this is a nifty tool that I didn't figure out until a couple playthroughs in. But if you double tap triangle while you're targeted onto an enemy, Donald and Goofy will bum rush that enemy.
They will, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I figured that out this playthrough, but the problem is by this point I have a special move equipped to triangle, so sometimes I do also.
So that was actually more useful in the PS2 version when special abilities were mapped to I'm trying to steal my neighbor's car again, guys. Sorry about that. But when special abilities were mapped to the command menu instead of the triangle.
One of these days you'll carjack them properly, Peter. But yeah, I think it was probably a good decision mapping like this special move to triangle instead of creating a new line, just because it pops on the screen more and it's fewer button presses. But,
it is, I agree.
But I did not know about this bum rush technique. It might have helped me a little bit, but I.
Or the other pro strat, which is spam thunder.
No, well, I mean, my strat was, okay, I'll just move in towards the wall so I don't fall in by accident, and then maybe they'll charge me so I can counter them.
Yeah, fair. That's how I do it.
All I can remember is the platforming on Hollow Bastion was, I don't know if it progressively got worse, because I know when you're at the very bottom, and I think with Beast and everything, and you're trying to get through the whole thing of, well, I guess we should say this too, that how you lose the Keyblade when you first enter Hollow Bastion, which that blew my mind. And it taught me that, wow, I guess I am insignificant and I have to use Beast for just about everything and I have to run away and everything else. But
fortunately, Beast is literally a beast. And
he's very powerful.
Yep, he one-shots a lot of those heartless thingers.
But it made me really appreciate the platforming just a little bit more as you progress more into Hollow Bastion. That I don't know if I loved it, but I didn't hate it. It felt right. It wasn't your like unthought of other Square games that had platforming. I'm not going to name the game, but that just didn't fit into the game. But this felt good, but it was annoying.
Honestly, I didn't think the platforming was that bad in this, but I think it's because by now you have high jump and glide, and that gives you a lot more control.
Sora's increased mobility by this point in the game makes navigating a lot more fun. It's unfortunate that it's so late in the game, but you do kind of appreciate it once you get those abilities.
I think it's like you can think of it as more of a challenge. Like you progress up to this point. Now let's test all of those things you've learned at this one stage.
Yeah,
which is good. Which is good. Almost final area design. But once you get to the bosses at the end of the world are some of the best in the game too. Dragon Maleficent. Oh man, that fight is tough.
Yeah, it really can be, can't it? I've never died against it. I don't know why. I have the most luck with that boss ever. But to be fair, by this point, I am literally just like jacked up in strength, and I just Ars Arcanum everything now.
So, it was Hollow Bastion where I first wait. Actually, no, it was the Hercules boss fight right before Hollow Bastion. Where I discovered, Ars Arcanum just wrecks everything. If you get like 75% of the combo hitting. So
you went back and did the Coliseum tournaments?
I did. I had completely ignored them, but I knew that Hollow Bastion was a big thing, so I'm like, I'll just go and do all 3 tournaments, and I had to sort of solve Hercules to how to get rid of his aura, but I did do all of them, and I used the Olympia Keyblade for all of Hollow Bastion until I got the Divine Rose Keyblade. I should mention this. The reason I ultimately decided to do Atlantica was because I knew I would get a Keyblade at the end. That was about 70% of why I did it.
That's a good incentive.
But so anyway, I did I didn't do the final tournament that unlocks really late, but I did the first 3. And got the Olympia, and I did beat Maleficent and the dragon on the first try. Again, Ars Arcanum featured heavily. Basically, Ars Arcanum and Cura were and then later Curaga was how I beat every other boss in the game. But the Riku boss fight at the end, the second Riku boss fight, it took me several tries. That
is a famous roadblock.
I would get him down to his green health bar a lot, and then he would just kill me too fast before I could use an elixir. And
Yeah.
but then try 7 or 8, I knocked it out. It's like every time it's like, okay, I see how he's killing me. I just need to be a little lucky and a little good with reflexes, and I never wanted to throw my controller. It's like, okay, I know what I have to do. It'll just take a little bit of grinding, a little bit of repetition, and then I'll figure it out. And I did. But it was the boss that took me the most tries this whole game.
Yeah, you can't really just spam things, can you? It's the first boss where you can't really stun lock into a combo or anything
Yeah,
like that.
no,
So, yeah.
he's very good at blocking, even if you have a key that resists deflecting, like the Divine Rose, and he can knock you out of stuff a lot. So I think you have to be either very good with your counter timing or your dodge rolling and then sort of just and get your hits in when he's off the end of an attack, and then his dash move and his rapid fire blue darkness fire whatever
Big splash damage
yeah.
whoopee.
Yeah,
Warp.
all that's pretty. It's I would say reasonably challenging to avoid. So I would, yeah, I would get him down to yellow or green every time, and then he would just kill me with too many fast hits in a row. But I eventually figured it out.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of the first battles that I almost threw my controller at the screen a few times. I think I guess in a way I would feel that this game is leading up to like a really, really difficult battle. I mean, if it wasn't for Dragon Maleficent, it was the Riku Ansem fight, because I thought I got the pattern.
Riku's possessed by Ansem here,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like halfway through you're battling him, and then he cranks it up a notch, and then if you're not careful, you'll just instantaneously die if you don't haven't had enough leveled up.
You would get him below 50%, and then suddenly he would go Super Saiyan and kill you real fast unless you had the timing absolutely down.
So this is also the moment after the Riku fight is also when the story really comes to a head with a moment that is pretty critical to the later games, which is when Sora becomes a Heartless.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a very interesting thing. I didn't see that coming when I first played it, and you get to play as a just normal Heartless. And
play as this adorable little Heartless dude just running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can even ride elevators.
Jumping off ledges. I just jumped off ledges to my death.
Me too. Suicide.
I just took elevators until I accidentally ended up in the library, so it worked out.
Yeah.
But I like that moment a lot because it's a good. Okay, Sora's willing to sacrifice himself, kind of a cute heroic moment. But then Riku and Kairi actually kind of get to do something, which is neat. Riku is fighting back against the darkness that's taken him, which I actually like the design of Riku's Keyblade too, because it has like a heart in the negative space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a neat design. I dig it.
It reminded me of the Sword of Darkness from Power Rangers, but
that's very fair.
But of course it did.
That's very fair.
That bit where Donald and Goofy go off because Riku steals the Keyblade is like, what the hell?
It was heartbreaking because your best buddy's just like, well, you don't have the Keyblade anymore, so screw you.
Oh, we have not forgotten, Donald. We have not forgotten. We do not forgive.
I would expect this out of Donald, but Goofy, man, I thought Goofy had Sora's back.
Goofy was very reluctant of going.
He was reluctant, and he was the first one to come back. And he was like, "I'm not going to betray Sora either." Like
Pluto would not have done that.
No, where the hell is Pluto for this entire game?
Right,
Pluto will give way into the next game. Believe me.
I saw the final cutscene, but when they find Pluto again, it's like, where have you been the whole time, man? You could have helped, murk some Heartless for me, couldn't you?
I mean, he's a literal dog, unlike Goofy, who is a dog with a shield.
Well, he's the MacGuffin of the series. He just continues with the story. Just like you don't know where he does, you don't know where he goes. He's just there.
It's true. Pluto just kind of shows up.
Neither Alana nor I included Goofy or Pluto in the Good Dogs of RPGs episode a year ago, and I think we're justified. I mean, are these good RPG dogs? I don't know.
Well, he's a good. He's not a good dog though. Oh yeah, that's the point though. No, you can't ever say Pluto is bad, and
no. Pluto is a good dog. He's just a. Dogs sleep 20 hours a day. He was just, and I think this entire game might take place in less than 24 hours, which makes Riku's turn even crazier. It's like, man, why are you this mad at Sora when I don't think a full day has passed? But anyway, I didn't totally understand why everything transpired the way it did after the Riku fight, but at least the band gets back together, except Riku, who's now speaking to Jedi Mickey.
Jedi Mickey, and he's still possessed by Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Right. Wait,
Mhm.
really?
Which is not a
So-
bad thing.
But I thought Riku was in the darkness world and you were fighting Billy Zane.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, no, he was. Billy Zane gets kicked out and goes to the Heartless's home world, the end of the world.
Right, and I have another question. I hope this doesn't count as endgame spoiler stuff, but
You're fine.
what was Billy Zane? What we were just calling him Billy Zane. What was Ansem's plan?
And so Ansem
like,
basically just wants Ansem basically just wants the Heartless to overrun the worlds.
Okay, but that was foiled when the people retake Hollow Bastion. But then when they go back to the end of the world, Ansem is about to retake Kingdom Hearts anyway. So did they need to have the Heartless overrun the worlds, or was that just what Maleficent and the Disney Coalition of Evil was trying to do?
I think it's what the Disney Coalition of Evil wants to do because they all have their own agendas and people they want beaten from their movies. Whereas Ansem was like the leader of the society that was in Hollow Bastion before,
Right,
and he just wants knowledge.
I don't know if that does make sense, but
It's in the Ansem reports.
Yeah.
and I unlocked I think 9 of the 10 of them, but I don't know. I mean, if what Ansem wanted all along was in the end of the world, then I'm not sure why he had to deal with any of the Disney stuff at all. But I'm probably skipping steps here. It's
Basically, I think he's just super curious about what's going to happen because that just seems like his MO.
And he did seem like he wanted to connect all the worlds with darkness, like almost having the darkness sort of absorb all the worlds and absorb them all, like and absorb all of their history and knowledge. I think might have been part of it.
Which is what Kingdom Hearts is it's basically the collective This is going to sound like a Persona thing. It's basically the collective unconscious of all the Disney worlds.
Yeah, no, I think it might be the collective unconscious of all worlds and all souls, because if hearts and worlds and the hearts of worlds are behind keys, or behind keyholes, it's probably where everything is like birthed, and when something's destroyed, they return to Kingdom Hearts. It's almost like I don't know. It's like an Oort cloud or something, where stars are born, and then when stars die, the dust returns to the cloud. So that's
basically how it be, and they even do that with like the stars blink out when a world disappears.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a collective unconscious, or for a more early Earth example, like a primordial sea of sorts, and Ansem's big theory is that everything is born from and returns to darkness, and then Laura says, "Nah, bro, it's light," and then that changes everything. I think.
Basically.
In a nutshell.
We're already on there, so let's just talk about the end of the world now. I'll say
I'm sorry if I skipped ahead.
It's fine.
I've had less than 24 hours to process all of this. I beat the game late last night.
There's a lot of stuff too, but I love the end of the world. I think it's one of my favorite areas in the game. It's probably a big sticking point for why, for me at least, the original Kingdom Hearts sticks out in my mind, because I just love that world. It's like
I like the mood of the world, and I like the music that plays. And I kind of like the area with no enemies, where you're sort of descending between platforms, because that really does feel like you're descending into an abyss, and the environment design is more interesting than the open iceberg or the straight lines of red columns. So I don't love the design of the end of the world, just mechanically going from place to place, but the mood of it, it does have an air of finality to it that a good RPG Final Dungeon has, and it has a bunch of boss fights that were, I would say, mostly like pretty good for what this game is.
Did you know Chernobog was in this game?
No, that was someone mentioned the word Chernobog to me.
I think it was me.
It probably was, and it made me. It was either you or Stephen Meyrick, it didn't register, because Chernobog, that's a demon. I think that's in Solomon's Key. I think you fight Chernobog in Shadow Hearts and Persona. But then it's like, it's the demon from Fantasia. Oh damn!
Yeah, like Night on Bald Martin starts playing, and it's
man. Iconic, awesome.
That's one of the best moments in the game.
It is one of the coolest random Disney cameos. It's one of those. It's like, oh, I'm collecting 99 puppies. This is great. Oh, I'm fighting the demon from Fantasia. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing Kingdom Hearts was made for.
That was the yes. It was not a long cameo and not an entire world, but it was a very, very cool Disney moment that I'll get to this later. Frankly, I wish Kingdom Hearts had more of.
That's totally fair.
I think one thing with Triezenberg is this you appreciate after you beat it. It's like how the game kind of starts ramping up the ridiculousness of your bosses. Because you're battling like this giant. Because we had like a super Ursula like early on, and then we have other bosses, and then we have Triezenberg. And then like you kind of get a feeling that it's like what else is he going to do? And then you start moving on, and you battle against. I don't know if this is jumping up a little bit, and you get Ansem. But is it the first time you go against Ansem, you're by yourself, or is it?
No, it's the second one.
Second time.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah, you fight first Ansem with Donald and Goofy, and then you fight the weird like shapeless thing from the very beginning of the game.
The dark side.
Yeah,
that's what they're called. Yeah,
sure.
I hated the second part because it caught me off guard so many times. I had blow through so many elixirs because I was either not prepared or I didn't know what to do, especially when
the third round of it, where it's solo Sora against Ansem and his demon buddy. That was the most challenging of the end game fights, but it felt like an easier version of Riku Ansem to me, because I just have to sidestep when he does this and this, and you have to pick your battles because if you if you submit,
if he says submit, the thing will grab you.
Yeah, so if he says submit, then you gotta just dodge backwards or something.
Now, in the first phase, there's a bit of build up because he says something like insolence or something, and then builds up to the grab attack. But in the 1v1, he jumps straight into it, so you have to be careful.
Yeah, but he can also get far away from you quickly, and will sometimes have his demon buddy. I don't know why he has a symbiotic demon partner at all. Maybe that's explained better in a different game.
It's not.
Okay, good. But sometimes he'll do a full guard even. So it's hard to land a full Ars Arcanum on him. But you have to just dodge well and pick your spots well.
I like how he goes into a full villain monologue mid-fight.
Wouldn't be a Japanese RPG though, would it?
What do you hope to accomplish? God, I could listen to Billy Zane talk all day.
Me too.
He does have a smooth, buttery voice. It's true. I wish he had more voice work in this game, frankly.
That final speech he gives before the fight, that's one of my favorite moments in the game too. When like you get to the island at the end of it and it all starts disappearing and he just starts berating Sora like, "You understand nothing, bruh." I love that bit. It's really cool. It's ethereal. Glenn's a good amount of build up to the fight, and I just get to listen to my man Billy Zane talk.
It's fun times.
Then the final fight. Sorry, Mike.
No. I was about to talk about the final fight too. The final fight, I think is.
It goes full Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
it's like an old school Final Fantasy boss, like Neo Exdeath.
Like full phases.
Yeah, with like weird fleshy demon parts all stacked onto each other, like Neo Exdeath or the
Kefka, the tower of Kefka.
Yeah, the tower of the tower of statues before Kefka. But I don't know. It did not feel. It didn't feel as emotional as the fight against Ansem, and also it does the. This is just my preferences, and this also extends to the Triezenberg fight and the fight against Giant Ursula. I don't love the floating, flying, fighting a giant thing as much as fighting on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally fair.
If anything, Triezenberg was my favorite of those because of how cool the reference was, and because I thought he was stylistically the most interesting of them. But yeah, I didn't like fighting the weird Final Fantasy demon battleship Ansem because I don't think the floating stuff is as interesting.
Yeah, it's not, and it's you're basically just wailing on him, and either if you're at a lower level, you want to dodge the laser beams that he starts firing, or you can just take it. at higher levels. Like,
if I knew I was going to take laser beams, I would cast Aurora on myself first.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't find any part of that really challenging. It's
Mm-mm.
like, oh, he's
Mhm.
going to
Yeah,
get
it's not
spinny.
too
I
hard.
guess I'll back out and use a Mega Ether.
I do like how you have to go into the little portals to get Donald and Goofy back, and then it's like in pitch darkness. That's kind of neat.
Mhm.
It makes the darker Heartless kind of intimidating, like because you just see the eyes, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of sets of yellow eyes coming at you, and it's like ah.
And it gives you a feeling of the battle building,
Yeah.
like with your party growing and the danger increasing. That idea
Yeah.
wasn't bad, but still, I think Riku Ansem is the good, challenging, interesting fight of the whole final gauntlet.
Yeah, this is more the spectacle fight,
I'm
which is
sorry, not Riku Ansem, regular Ansem, final Ansem. You know which one
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's totally fair.
I
So
cried a little. I cried a little at the ending. I'm
The
just
ending is
gonna
very
admit that.
sweet.
I'm gonna admit that right now. The ending where I know the exact moment since we get to the ending and everything, and how there's Kyrie there, and then Sora's there, and I think they're getting separated as Kyrie's going back to the Destiny Islands and whatnot. And then the theme song plays. It just plays like that. It's like, oh, I can't hold back my tears anymore. I can't, man.
The minute
is the-
Simple and Clean kicks in, it's like, oh god, not
That
again.
is
And
that
it's
is a
like,
needle
yeah.
drop.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
music moments of the credits and ending are great, but I do not care about these characters enough to shed tears. I'm afraid. This is not
Yeah.
this is not like the I can't say it yet. The ending of an RPG we will be playing later on this podcast is makes me cry at the credits every time, but this is not hitting that level.
No, I'm like I said, I'm invested enough in the overall story of Kingdom Hearts. Although this is a big part of it too, is that again, the Kingdom Hearts It Gets Better thing. They develop these characters in the later ones. I'm invested in this is where the story begins, but I also have the context of the later one, so it does kind of make me a little more interested in the story, partially because I know where it goes from here. But I do think it's a sweet moment, and Utada's music just gets me. It does get me every time. She's perfect. And Face My Fears came out last night as of this recording, and it's so good.
Yeah,
You keep on playing the song. It's okay.
Yeah, this series really has a hell of a 1-2 punch between Shimomura and Utada. It's like that's a hell of a double act.
Shimomura's music, I think, is one of the main reasons why this series' story has such a following. Because man, those moments, the music is so melancholy and emotional and rich that it just sells the anime melodrama.
It's so intrinsic to every moment, isn't it? You can put a song to every moment, and there's so many leitmotifs going through the entire soundtrack for every game that it's like, this plays at this bit, and you just like make all the references and everything.
No.
It's great.
Open piano chords coming. Time to feel some feelings.
Mm-hmm,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh
man, dude. Once you hear like Roxas's theme in Kingdom Hearts 2, it's like
Roxas's theme into the Other Promise is like the killer for me. We do get a tiny little shot of Mickey though, which we didn't mention with his
that's right.
with his full on like 1930s outfit with his pants and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you get a little glimpse of him.
When Riku and Mickey become dude bros all of a sudden.
They do, yeah. So they're closing the door to Kingdom Hearts. So Sora, Goofy, and Donald are on one side, and Mickey and Riku are closing it from the inside. So you're left with this cliffhanger that like Riku and Mickey are trapped in. Mm-hmm. Oh no, what's going to happen?
Riku's little redemption arc that he goes through.
I had guessed that it might have been Mickey that Riku was talking to after the events of Hollow Bastion, and then it was confirmed right at the ending. And then it just made me wish that this game had more Mickey in it, because Mickey as this great king and great hero who was on maybe a parallel adventure to yours appeals to me greatly. Like I want a Kingdom Hearts Gaiden that's just what happened to Mickey during this game.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
If it's him journeying through a world of darkness or fighting weird Heartless, but while keeping tabs on the other Keyblade user, because Mickey knows more than everyone else, obviously.
Mickey is the MVP of Kingdom Hearts. Yeah,
that's kind of what 0.2 is. The Kingdom Hearts 3 demo with Aqua that gets into what it's a 3-hour playable teaser, but it gets into what Mickey was doing during the ending of Kingdom Hearts and actually ties directly into the ending scene. It's pretty neat.
I am 0.2% more interested in that now.
Fair enough.
Wow.
That's so good. Woo. I want to talk a little bit about, did anyone do, I know, Mike, you went back and did some of the Coliseum stuff. Did anyone else besides me do like the optional?
All of it.
For this playthrough? You did? Sweet.
Yeah.
I did none of it. I got the Olympia Keyblade. It's like, super, let's beat the game.
That's a good one.
I didn't this time, but I have done it all previous times. I did the Colosseum, I've done all the puppies, and I did all the Trinities, so I did all of the basic stuff.
Yep, so I did all that. I did the super bosses, which I gotta say, Kingdom Hearts 1's selection of optional bosses is another thing about this game I find really incredible, because there are 4 of them from the base game, and they add a 5th one for Final Mix that ties directly into Kingdom Hearts 2. It's the villain from Kingdom Hearts 2, Xemnas.
Yes.
But you don't know that yet. He's known as Mysterious Man or something in this game.
I know. I remember on forums in the 2000s, people would call him man sex, which I always was amused by. But
he is man sex. He has a very deep voice.
Yeah.
I think it's called an enigmatic. Oh God, it's a big word. Enigmatic. I can't say it.
Enigmatic.
Yes, that. Thank you. Sorry, my tongue can't process that for some reason.
Your mileage may vary on whether or not enigmatic Xemnas or Sephiroth is a harder fight. Personally, I think Sephiroth is a pretty fair challenge that you just have to be like, if you're at a high enough level, you can kind of cheese that fight. But the thing about Xemnas is that he has an ability that can lock your command menu and randomly do damage to you until you get the right command, and it is a pain in the rear. But it's a really cool fight. It has great build up to it. A great version of his theme music. And he's like, he has like dual lightsabers, so it's like he's like zipping around and stuff. It's a really cool fight. I love it.
Yeah. So we have 3 other bosses, don't we? Sephiroth, yeah. I agree. I think he's slightly easier, but I do like the challenge he poses, and he's always a lot of fun. It's nice to see him pop up, even if, he's a bit overdramatic. And Lance Bass is playing him, which is always great. And I love that he still has that in his Twitter bio. How excellent is that in 2019? We have 3 other ones. 2 of them are more Heartless based. So we have Kortvely, which is, I believe, is named after someone who won a competition. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yeah, Kortvely was named after someone who won a contest to be like, they made him as a new boss for the North American release of Kingdom Hearts 1. And then there was a contest to be like, hey, name the boss.
That's right. I don't mind Kortvely too much. He's not too difficult. It's more of a just kind of whittle him down, avoid him a little bit and things like that.
It's a war of attrition kind of, because basically he locks your magic command, and then after that he locks your physical command, and it switches around, so you have to like alternate what attacks you're using.
Yeah, I hate the other Heartless boss, though. I hate
the Phantom.
I actually hate Phantom in Neverland. So
Phantom
if you go
is the worst.
It makes you regret not choosing the staff at the beginning, because you realize that is the only time in a game where you appreciate having as much magic as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. So you put your best magic keyblade on, put all your best equipment on, and things like that. And he's still a pain in the backside. Like it plays into the worst things about Atlantica and Neverland, aiming your magic while you are floating around, and I hate it. It's like not too bad at this point, but like I just hate the floatiness of that boss and the mechanics. So you have to keep stopping Big Ben from ticking around, because all your party members have Doom on them. So if you cast stop on Big Ben, it stops the hand, so the Doom timer stops counting down, and you get to hit Phantom with whatever color heart he is with the opposite magics, or the same magic or something.
It's the same magic, so it's like red for fire, blue for
so it's the opposite of Ursula's Cauldron. Just so this game communicates its mechanics well.
Yeah.
It's a very challenging fight. It's not like the gimmick is pretty easy to figure out, but it's just tedious and hard. And
yeah, I hate redoing it. You get the ultimate stop spell from doing it, don't you? Is that what you get for it?
Yeah, you get.
Why?
You don't need stop for anything else.
I don't use stop anyway. Why would you give me the upgraded version of it?
Okay, I'll say this. The only other time in the game where you're going to need stop is if you're a crazy person like me and you want to get the best
Grinding.
Keyblade.
All right,
Yep, grinding, because
Ugh.
one of the heartlet. So one of the things they added in Kingdom Hearts Final Mix is they added
Pink asparagus.
the pink Anguir something,
Anguirus?
whatever.
I call it asparagus, but whatever.
The pink asparagus. Okay, the
There,
pink asparagus
got
is
it.
this really annoying giant pink mushroom thing that will drop good items for you if you can land a certain number of hits on it while it is stopped. So what you do is you stop lasts as long as your magic meter does. So you equip all your best magic boosting stuff, get the most out of that, cast arrow on yourself to land some extra hits, and then you keep spamming Ragnarok on it until it drops the items you need. Problem. Ragnarok is now mapped to triangle. Pressing triangle causes Donald and Goofy to attack the enemy. Their hits subtract from your total score.
Amazing.
Do you see the problem here?
This
It
sounds
is a
like
nightmare.
a nightmare. Oh,
It is a nightmare.
You
I like
basically-
some of the mushroom challenges, but this one is always a pain.
Yeah, it's and you do, and you have to defeat, in order to synthesize the best gear, you want to get the item drops that drop from every new type of heartless that they added to Final Mix, which means going back to each world, and some of them are cool, like there's like a Frankenstein monster thing in Halloween Town.
Mhm.
There's the Neo shadows, which are like the cool vicious looking
Muscular looking guys.
I love
Yeah, those
them.
things, they're cool. They're really cool, especially if you get the secret ending and you have that scene of them fighting in the rain.
Yeah, I also think you have Jet Balloon as well.
Jet Balloon is annoying. My least favorite though are the Sniper Wilds, because the ones from Traverse Town, the freaking teleporting monkeys.
Hate them.
Yeah.
Every time you walk into Traverse Town and the battle music starts playing, and you're like, "There's no Heartless." I'm like, "There's a Heartless," and I just run. I'm just like, "No,
And
not today."
the thing is too, if it sees you, you're done, because they don't drop experience or items once they see you. So you have to kill 3 of them in a row to get the item drops.
Yep.
And they
who thought this
No.
was a good idea?
no,
Grinding.
it's not even 3 in a row. 3 waves in a row. They go 1, 2, 3. They spawn in. So basically, you know what you do? Because there's really no easy way to do this. You find a corner and you spam thunder until they die.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
that's what I did when
Sounds
I
like
did
you did it with a bit of aggression at that point. That sounds like you had a lot of painful moments.
Oh my god! Do you know I knew I was angry because like I at this point I'm already committed to doing this. So whatever, fine. I tried. I was looking up different methods for people who are like, oh, just go down there and cast stop on them. That doesn't work. They break out of stop like in 2 seconds. Oh, use Mushu. That doesn't work.
Wow. Yeah.
That just straight up doesn't work. Just wait for them to jump up and pick them off one at a time. That takes too long and also sometimes doesn't work.
It's stressful. They stress
It's
me
just-
out so much.
Fortunately, the item drops, once they do die and drop items, the item drops appear above your head and drop, so you don't have to like go down and pick them up. But they get more aggressive the more of them you defeat too. So you can't just keep farming them. You have to leave and wait for them to respawn. It is the worst.
Mhm.
And now that I've done it once, I'm never doing it again. This is my badge of honor. I've done it.
You've earned the badge of honor. It's fine.
I got the freaking platinum trophy on this playthrough. I'm done. I did it. I'm never touching this again.
I think the whole thing about the new Kingdom Hearts, I can say new Kingdom Hearts, but the final mix on the PlayStation 3 or 4 at this rate is that I think with the trophies, unlike when you were, play the game on a PlayStation 2, which I know they didn't have the Sniper Wilds, or at least we didn't have the final mix stuff in Japan.
Back in my day.
Yeah, but it's like I remember taking photos, and I don't mind saying this, but I was so happy when I first beat Sephiroth. I took a photo, I took a video. I can probably find that video somewhere. I did the same thing when I grinded my every single little thing, a fiber being about me, when I grinded and get the ultimate weapon. I was so happy. And now you get your trophies and it just feels like I did it. And this is my proof right there. And then you just never touch the game ever again.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, depends how much you love them.
I mean,
but-
I am confident. I am comfortable not getting that trophy and also not touching this game ever again.
I mean, I probably will, because I do like this game a lot. I think it's charming despite its many flaws and despite the fact that the later games are better. But we didn't talk about Ice Titan. Ice Titan sucks. Moving on.
Yeah, he does. Lots of guarding, lots of deflecting. He's hard, but in a kind of just irritating way, not like Sephiroth challenging an enigmatic man. So
yeah, the fight's kind of a spectacle and it's cool, like, but where he's like dropping giant icicles on your head and you have to like deflect his attacks back at him, but it just gets old fast. But yeah, so Kingdom Hearts' endgame grind, 0 out of 10 would not recommend. But you do get the bosses are awesome. The rewards you get, like the ultimate weapon is a really great Keyblade, and it looks ornate enough that it's like, oh yeah, I spent a lot of time getting this. I feel proud of myself, but it is tedious getting there. I do like though the Another Side, Another Story, the post game cutscene. Did any of you guys unlock that?
Not this time, but have seen it before. I love it. That piece of music is one of my favorites in the series. How cool is the dual keyblades, and how cool is Riku? Not Riku. It is Riku by this
That's
point.
Riku.
Yeah,
that's Riku.
It is Riku. How cool is that fight on the side of the skyscraper, and it's foreshadow stuff, and this is the kind of bit that I'm like, yeah, we're getting to the good stuff now.
Yeah,
like,
and the fact that basically is like that became like this is a canonical moment in the series. But back when this first came out, we didn't know anything. We didn't know who Roxas was or anything like that. But it's such a cool moment. The music is great. It's a cool looking fight. Lots of mysterious foreshadowing, and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, me too.
Kingdom Hearts is certainly a series with lore and stuff. All right, so I think that about wraps up everything in Kingdom Hearts 1. But I do want to get everyone's closing thoughts. Mike, I'm going to save you for last because I think we've been talking. I think you're the one that we've all been wanting to hear from. You know, people been flooding your inbox. So real quick, I want Alana and Kyle. Can you guys give me your brief final thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 1 after playing it for this podcast? Alana first.
Yeah. So weird playthrough. Third time playing it. I think I've liked it less every time I've played it. But I do like some of the end game stuff, and I think that it's an important series, and it reminds me of what I like about some of the later games, which is good. So I think it's sometimes a necessary step, and I think if you're looking to dive into 3, which is out literally days after this is going up, then I think you do no worse than picking up that PS4 the complete story or whatever it's called, because Europe doesn't have it, so I don't remember the name. But yeah, it was but I still like this game to a degree. I don't think I'll go back to the first one anymore. I think I'm done and happy. I have done everything before, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But it was nice to revisit and say Halloween Town is the best world. Hollow Bastion is also one of the best worlds in the series. And I'm excited for 3 mostly. I'd like to see where we are from 2003 to 2019. So it's been a journey.
Sure has. Kyle?
I think Kingdom Hearts is something that kind of snuck up on me when I first played it, when I first got it for the PlayStation 2. And as I played it multiple times over and over again, and my recent playthroughs as well, I think I appreciate it more like fine wine in a way that I know we keep saying that it just gets better and everything, but I think I learned that with a game like this, between platforming and between some symbolisms, that after playing the other Kingdom Hearts games and coming back to the first one, you kind of feel like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool to know that he developed and she did this and the Hearts was like this and everything. And you just appreciate it just a bit more once you play the other games and everything. But even if you play this game by itself, I mean, it does stand up to be, I mean, I almost dare to say a cult classic in most genres out there. But it's one of those things that Disney took a chance with Square, and Square said, you know what, let's just put everything out on the table here, see if everyone likes it. And I don't think they knew what was going to happen when the game first came out, that it would just be as large as it is right now. Whether or not if you're for the lore, against the lore, I have no idea what the heck the lore is. But I think Kingdom Hearts ultimately is something that I don't think I would pick up this randomly. But if I ever had to pick it up in the future, I think I would just beat it casually without even thinking about it, and just, again, put it back for another year or two or even longer than that, and just be happy that I played it.
Fair enough. All right, Sollosi, hit us.
Okay, I prepared something, but first I want to. I really don't agree with Kyle. I don't think this was Disney and Square taking a chance. I think it was them trying to combine two of the most popular fandoms in the world into something and seeing how successful it could be. And it ended up being quite successful. It was a huge PS2 release, or at least 1 and 2 were. And the fan outcry for Kingdom Hearts 3 just got louder and louder every year from 04, 05 onward, whenever Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. And I think this is not a bad RPG, but I think it's a very flawed RPG. It has some very exciting ideas. It appeals to a lot of people for its aesthetic and story and all of the Disney stuff in it, and many reasons. There are good things about Kingdom Hearts, but I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is ultimately a flawed game that I don't think stacks up well against other PS2 games. It's like I don't know. It's like a game that trades on nostalgia and references for its strengths more than what I would call good video game concepts. But I have something I prepared, which is something I also did for the Suikoden 2 episodes a few months ago, where I identified 5 things I don't like about Kingdom Hearts, and I want I want all 3 of you to tell me if I'm being fair with that criticism, unfair with that criticism, or it gets better, and it's fixed in the future game. So can you play that game with me a little bit?
I'm up for it.
Sure.
Yeah, what the heck?
All right. So the first thing I disliked, the basics of movement. I think that the game is floaty and clumsy, and when you're moving and jumping around, the platforming does get better later. But I just had difficulty with the basic moving around a lot of the time, and it got in the way of me doing what I wanted to in combat. Is that so fair, unfair, or wait?
It's extremely fair, because I think it was very glidey, very like type of thing. Like, oh, I moved too far, too fast, up to that time. But
it is a game that came out in 2002, which, I mean, other games did make strides in 3D movement. I think Square, for them, this was one of their first times trying to make a game that mimicked that style.
I mean, Final Fantasy X wasn't an action RPG, but I think moving around in Final Fantasy X is way better than in this game. But
I guess, but in Final Fantasy X, you're also usually limited. You're not in a full 3D environment.
Yeah, it's very pathed in 10. You're right.
And as far as the gameplay concerns go, the later games, especially Kingdom Hearts 2, the combat's still pretty floaty and aerial based, but movement feels a lot more precise, if that makes sense. Like, you kind of snap to enemies more.
There's a way wider variety of skills involved. Although you do have to grind a bit more for them, there is more abilities. Like, you can glide faster, you can glide further, you can roll further, you can dash, you can do other things. So they do get better. But yeah.
So it gets better.
Pretty much, yeah. But like, even in, as you identified, Kingdom Hearts 1 itself does improve on its mobility with the additional skills you get. It's just that I guess Sora gets more skills in later games that helps that out pretty well. And yeah, the combat is still slightly floaty later on, but it's nowhere near as bad, and I feel like a lot more comfortable moving around in those later entries.
All right, so the second thing I disliked was the camera system and targeting system. Sometimes it just gets in the way, especially if I was wedged behind Giant Ursula or Chernobog's head or something. Again, it's similar to movement. Like, this might be a consequence of it being an early attempt at a 3D game by Square, but I think that it was not a great implementation of a targeting system.
You're right.
Okay.
Very right, I would say. Yeah, it's not always great.
Spot on.
It's better in the version you're playing, because it's not mapped to the shoulder buttons anymore.
Oh God, yeah.
But it was always bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the third thing I disliked, the gummy ship. I think that giving you a design room and blueprints and things like and blocks to combine is cool, but I would have rather they just cut out all the gummy stuff entirely.
Mm-hmm. I largely agree with you. Like, I do not like the gummy ship missions. They don't hold your hand to build the ships, which is fine, but like, if you just stick with your standard kingdom ship, you will die in 2 hits in like the last areas.
I did die in 2 hits a couple times.
Yeah, but I prefer Kingdom Hearts 2's missions. They're a lot more fun because they're so much faster, and also they're on rail. Like, they're more on, well, these are on rails anyway, but these go like different places. You're not always just going straight. You're going like around areas. You're going around landmarks, and there are different things. So yes, it gets better, but they're still not my favorite thing in this series, and I do hate them in one.
I got to be realistic with myself. As much as everyone's going to say that I'm going to stick up for the gummy ship and stuff, if I had to compare it against number 2, then yeah, I mean, I can see there's a lot of flaws that one could say that they took from 1 and put in 2, then made it better. But overall, I liked it, but I can see your points on there. I'm not going to get on a soapbox here and defend everything about it, but I definitely feel that just looking on the outside, just on the whole gummy ship purpose of what it was, yeah, it was a waste of time. But it was a waste of time that I thoroughly enjoyed. But again, that was my mindset at the time I was playing it. I like being very creative, but if I took the creativeness out of it, it's a useless mechanic that shouldn't have been in Kingdom Hearts. I'm glad they improved upon in Kingdom Hearts 2. I can't wait to see what they did in Kingdom Hearts 3 with it. But again, that's how I feel right there.
So basically, it's trash, but you love trash.
You know what? I might as well just say it. Yeah, I love this trash at Kingdom Hearts 1. All right, I love the trash of that.
The Muppets are a Disney property, so we could have Oscar the Grouch in a gummy ship saying how much he loves trash in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my god! Don't do this to me. But like one thing I want to say quickly, which I don't think I said last episode, I do like how all of the gummy ship enemies are named after Final Fantasy enemies. And I do like how loads of the blueprints are named after summons and enemies. So you've got Shiva and Ifrit, and then you've also got the bombs.
Also some of the ships as well.
Yeah, they're really cool. So I do like that as a little reference point. But yeah, I don't like them otherwise.
Okay, so the fourth thing on my list of dislikes is the world structure and the event flagging. We'd already talked about this a lot in the first episode. I don't think these environments are as cool as the Disney look of themselves, and the quest design is basically just a lot of running back and forth that at times feels pointless. I thought it was the worst in Deep Jungle, but it's never very good.
No, that's fair. I think that the later games, they sort of trade off. There isn't as much verticality or sense of exploration in later games because they're mostly corridors for combat. They definitely picked a focus and stuck with it in the later Kingdom Hearts games. But yeah, the first game, I think, gives you a bit more sense of exploring these Disney worlds than the later ones. Sometimes it works, like Halloween Town. Most of the time it doesn't, like Deep Jungle and Wonderland.
Mm-hmm. I like how these games as well, this is kind of a tangent, they don't actually follow a film plot. Whereas a big thing that later games do is follow the standard film plot. So like Halloween Town in 2 follows the plot of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is cool. But yeah, like I prefer the kind of like silliness of Jack trying to use the Heartless as like dancing.
It's a little weird. I think for Little Mermaid and Nightmare Before Christmas in Kingdom Hearts 1, it definitely feels like a prequel to their movies, because like no Eric in Little Mermaid and Jack and Sally sort of aren't together, and he hasn't encountered Christmas yet in Halloween Town. But Aladdin sort of is like parallel to the movie plot,
which is so weird.
And Tarzan, and Tarzan as well. So it's like they're not really consistent with how they stick or don't stick to movies in Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't think that's a problem though. That didn't bother me. But it's a little weird that if they all follow movie plots in later games.
Pretty much.
All right, and the last thing I disliked about this game is I don't know if this is the rudest of my list. I think that Riku, Sora, and Kairi are lame. I could not give half a damn about any of them. I think that their motivations are either nonsensical, like how Riku just goes from 0 to 100 in terms of hating Sora, in again a plot that I think takes place in less than a few days, and how Kairi is a sort of non-factor until she decides to just hang out in the sewer for the second half of the game, and Sora himself is an okay blank slate character, but I think I just would have preferred it if this game was Mickey, Donald, and Goofy righting wrongs in Disney worlds.
One thing I think I can, I guess, want to say elaborate on is that I definitely agree that all three of them are forgettable, especially, and I'm sorry for anyone listening to this, Kairi. Kairi is one of those things that I felt like she was one of those damsels in distress, but it wasn't blatantly obvious that she was one of them. But then you have Riku, who I felt has really interesting character factors, but didn't really blossom until much later in the series. And then Sora's character never really changes. He's a blank slate, like you say. He's bland. That's all he is.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Dream Drop Distance's literal plot thesis is that everyone likes Sora because Sora's an idiot.
Basically. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you'd asked me if I liked the main characters 5-10 years ago, I'd have said yes. Now I'm a bit more like, I've never really been a big fan of Sora anyway, and I never used to like Kairi, but I think she's dealt a bad hand because she's not really had that time to shine yet. And I really hope and have got like I feel fairly confident she'll have some time to shine in 3. But Sora's just kind of Blair, and he's literally the cookie cutter JRPG 14-year-old wandering around doing things because he can do things and doesn't really learn from any of them to a degree. Riku, I've always liked, although replaying Kingdom Hearts 1, I found him extremely obnoxious and extremely self-centered. But I do know he gets better in 2, and I do like the redemption arc he gets eventually. So yeah, I would largely agree at the point of Kingdom Hearts 1 that I don't like the main Kingdom Hearts cast.
I kind of look at Kingdom Hearts 1 kind of as a coming of age story, at least, and the series as a whole to an extent. And so I part of my I don't really like the exactly how the characters in Kingdom Hearts 1 are. I also kind of view it as their kids, and this is where their journey starts. Again, it's one of those things where it gets better, quote unquote, but I'm keeping the fact that I know they develop more later in mind. They sort of turn Sora's like unflinching optimism into a positive character trait.
Yeah, which is good to a degree, yeah.
It stops being like childlike naivete and more that like he is like eternally a child at heart. Kairi will hopefully finally get something to do, please, for the love of God. I like their friendship together, and I love Riku's character development because Riku's just kind of a rival character to Sora. So I don't mind his villain turn because I think it's kind of natural that they've been pushed against each other. They're already kind of predisposed against each other, and then this just sort of lets it come out of its shell, I guess. Because you have that whole thing on the island where like you can compete with him, and they have a score tally. They're kind of passive aggressive to each other, clearly into the same girl. I don't know. It felt it's prepubescent, sure, but I didn't mind that so much because we're playing as a bunch of prepubescents. And Riku's character arc again, where he goes from dealing with the repercussions of his actions, accepting that darkness is a part of him, and kind of going through these weird steps to like learn to control it. I don't know. For some reason, I kind of relate to that in a weird way. Just being someone who kind of deals with a lot of anxiety in life. Mm-hmm. So I think Riku has a lot more depth and dimension than the other characters. But again, it gets better. I must stress.
Okay. Well, thank you for indulging me in that exercise. I know I've come across as overly negative on this on both of these episodes, probably, but I think that Kingdom Hearts is a game with cool ideas that's ultimately flawed, and I don't want to say it's bad. I don't want to say I loved it, but I'm glad to have finally crossed it off, and I did like it sometimes. So I don't hate this game as much as I pretended to hate it the past 15 years. But
I've got to find something else. I've got to find something else now.
Oh no, I'll have something, but it would just make people mad if I said what it was. But but I do want to go over 5 things that I really liked about it now, just to balance it out. We don't have to look at we don't need to analyze them and react to them the way that we did my 5 dislikes, but just
that's fine.
But because also we were running a little long right now. But anyway, the Shimomura soundtrack and Utada Hikaru's song, both that's all great. The music is very good in this game. I love Disney stuff in general, so them really going with the Disney aesthetic, I loved a lot of that. I wish there was more of it. I wish the worlds were bigger and better designed. I wish they transformed into something to fit the world, every world, instead of just 2 of them. And I wish that the game had more Mickey and more Disney in it. I even liked the Winnie the Pooh side quest, even though it was very different from the rest of the game, because it was more fun, colorful Disney stuff to explore.
That is cute.
Yeah, the third thing, I think that the party customization and skill customization is pretty good. the magic shortcuts and your attaching skills to AP and getting different characters in different worlds to replace Donald because GTFO Donald.
Took my advice.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, it was the right move. From the halfway point onward when I was doing there. I think it's pretty good. They give you a decent number of skills to play around with, and it does feel like an important decision when you're choosing sword, shield, staff, advantage, disadvantage at the beginning. So I thought that was cool. And the fourth thing, something I don't think we've mentioned at all, the game has very large text and user interfaces. Like, the dialogue bubbles are huge, and the menus are very large, but don't feel like they're taking over the action in a way that I thought was very clean and easy to read, and also made the game feel like a storybook with the text so large. And sometimes speech bubbles coming out of characters, sometimes just being sort of white words superimposed on the screen. I thought that the UI and large text and menus were pretty good in this game, which is not it's not always the case in RPGs. Sometimes I hate the UI in RPGs.
They do some really neat things with the command decks and menus in later games, in that each menu for each world is themed on that world. So, like, you get... Yeah, so it's not just the clean blue or red one, whether in battle or not. So you get like a basic kind of, I don't know, Land of the Dragons, which is the Mulan world. You have like this basic Chinese backdrop at the top with the kind of text font that they use for the title. And then when you're in battle, there's like a dragon pops out or something like that, and things get more active in the background. But it's all really it looks like noticeable, but it's not like impending. But it's really cool. I agree with you actually on the menus. It's not something I think about very often, but it is very.
It's something I think about too often. Oh boy.
No, it's a good thing. I agree.
And I'm a longtime Monster Hunter player, so I know a thing or two about bad menus.
Yeah, good UI design is hard to find in RPGs sometimes. So no, I'm with you on that. I think the UI is clean.
Yeah, it was very clean and big, and it did not get in the way, which is very good. Like, clean and not in the way are two great things for UI. But anyway,
one might even say it was simple and clean.
Yeah.
That was going to come out sometime.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the fifth thing is something that we've probably inadvertently already done when I brought up the Muppets earlier. This game, or I should say, this series has the most obvious hype loop I've ever seen I've ever even encountered. The idea of what Disney World do you want to see in a future game, or what Disney thing do you want in a future game, is manna from heaven to rabid fans online. Like, it is a very obvious and good and hype building feedback loop that generates a lot of positive and negative discussion. It's frankly amazing. Like, people are talking about Marvel or Star Wars worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know if those have been confirmed or not. But the idea that could happen, and that people have written probably millions of words about that on forums and similar spaces is, charming to me, because I have a lot of affection for video game forums of the 2000s.
I'm getting both of mine in 3. The ones I wanted were Frozen and Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest.
Oh, wow.
And we're getting both of them. So I'm like, yeah.
I'm getting one of mine as well. I'm getting a San Francisco from Big Hero 6. So I'm super happy about that.
Truthfully, the two I would want the most are Muppets and Incredibles, and we're getting Incredibles. So that's good.
We're not getting Incredibles.
We're not getting Incredibles.
I thought I saw Mr. Incredible in something.
It's the mobile game.
Coming.
Oh, it's the mobile game. Yeah. Oh, great. So I get neither of the things I was interested in.
Yeah.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's all good. So yeah, those are the 5 things I disliked and 5 things I liked about Kingdom Hearts 1. Ultimately, again, I don't think it hangs with the best PS2 RPGs, because that's one of the best systems ever for RPGs, or a personal favorite at least. But it has a lot of cool things in it, and I'm glad that fans are finally getting a Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, all right then. You heard it. You heard it here, folks. Mike hates everything. Confirmed. No, just kidding.
Josh's nickname for me years ago on the podcast was Entitled Mike, so I'm just living up to that old moniker.
Well, regardless, I'm glad we were able to check this one off your list too. I'm glad we were able to get this podcast together. I had a lot of fun talking about it with you guys. So I'm glad to be here, everyone.
I may have checked prices for modern versions of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Do it. I will.
I never say never.
But anyway, so that about does it for Kingdom Hearts. Next week, looking ahead to the future of Retro Encounter, we're going to be doing an episode on Virtue's Last Reward, the second volume of the Zero Escape series, and one of the best games ever made.
After we played 999 for the podcast in December, the people that had not on the podcast that had not played Virtue's Last Reward yet immediately wanted to play it. So that's why we're podcasting about it.
That's a testament to how awesome that series is, for real. We're also going to be doing an episode on our favorite Tales of games. I won't be on that one, obviously, because I don't have a favorite Tales of game. But that'll be fun. And then Tales of Vesperia, the definitive edition, is out as of this recording, and it looks pretty great. And they're going to be playing that on Retro Encounter, so please look forward to it. Okay, so you can find me at I Have Fury on Twitter. You can also email me, peterT@rpgfan.com. Always love hearing from you guys. Kyle?
I am at Kyle K at rpgfan.com. You can find me every Tuesday and now Fridays for the time being on RPG Fan's Twitch page. So I know this is going to be a shameless plug here too, but can't wait to be playing Kingdom Hearts 3 on launch day. So I'll be planning it for the site. So
nice.
And you can
Sounds
see
good.
the Twitch schedule and streaming schedule by going to the front page of rpgfan.com, because I don't think there's much of a point to announcing what it currently is as of this recording. But yeah, check that Twitch schedule, because I think there's stuff streaming basically every day, right?
it is every day.
Awesome. Where can we find you, Mike?
Right. I'm probably easiest to find on Twitter. I am at The Real Monsoon most of the time, and at Evoker for Dogs other times. I'm also Monsoon Mike on the Discord, and just Monsoon on the forums.
All right, and Alana?
You can find me on Twitter at Alana Hagues, or you can email me at alanah@rpgfan.com, or if you want to hit me up on Discord, I am at Diving Falcons.
All right. And that about concludes it for this episode of Retro Encounter, everybody. For myself, for Kyle, for Mike, for Alana. Good night. Good luck. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. And it's hard to let it go.